Hi, I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design, and today I'm out in the factory. I finished up all the orders and shipped them. One guy canceled an order and then reordered QMH. Got that all taken care of, refunded his money, canceled his order. Another guy wanted a beer can ring added to his order, and I did that. I don't think he's paid me yet with PayPal, but I'm sure he will. Okay, the lathe. That's a rather complicated story, but it's an interesting story. So let me show you this. Okay, this is a lathe that we were having the problem with. And you can see now that all worky great. Okay, now the story. Okay, sometimes in life, things happen in a way that is unusually difficult to deal with, especially when multiple things happen at the same time, and you think it's one, but it's the other. Well, that's the way it was with this lathe. I was using it right along, making beer can rings, was turning and everything. When I got all done, I shut it off. When I turned it back on, it just buzzed. Well, that generally means that you've got a start capacitor that just died. Had it happen before, no big deal. So, I flipped the lathe around, Sue and I got it, so because the motor's in the back, and we got it flipped around, I got the motor out, and I took it to a repair shop to have them go put a new start capacitor in, which I didn't have. And just have them generally go over it because the motor's old. It's been in there for, let's see, 7 years. 7-year-old lathe. So they worked on it, and turns out that the start capacitor was okay, but the run capacitor was completely melted, just gone. So anyway, they took it all apart, cleaned up the points inside of it for the switchover, and put a new capacitor in it, bench tested it, good. It's around a 50-mile drive to this place, Higgins Electric in Hamden, but I went down the interstate. So I brought it home and wrestled it back up onto the machine, got it all bolted into place and all wired up, and hit switch, just buzzed. Tried everything, nothing. So I took it back off again and called them up and told them that I'd installed it and it was doing the same thing it was when I brought it to them. And they said, bring it right back down and let us bench test it, find out what's going on. Okay, so I took it back off again, put it in the truck, drove another 50 miles back down to Hamden. And they bench tested it, and it bench tested fine, which I suspected it probably would. And the guy said, okay, and this was worth the trip down. He said, more than likely the problem you've got is you've got a switch, and one of the contacts on the switch is bad, and it's not getting one of the legs on the start windings is not energizing. So, I came home, put the motor back on again, wired it all back up, swung the lathe back around, got it back up against the wall, and took the switch out of it. Now let me tell you, this is not an easy job to take a switch out of one of these. It's installed very oddly, and there's some stuff on it that it's weird. You've got long bolts that go back into holes and hook onto it. You got to take the face off it to get it out, and the face has no obvious way. Anyway, I got it off. Here's the old switch. The new one is, and you can see that it's got a bunch of contacts on it. I think 12. It only uses 6 of them. So I happen to have a brand new one up overhead in the drawer where I have a bunch of lathe parts for emergencies. And it'd been up there for like 5 years. And I bought it a long time ago thinking, if I ever have a switch problem, I'm going to have to wait a week or two to have one delivered, so I better buy one just for a spare. And I did. And sure enough, I went up, found it right there in the box, brought it down, pulled the front all out. It took me like an hour to change the switch. And ironically, they made the wires just long enough so you could get them out, not quite get a screwdriver on them, short wires. I was trying to save money or what, but I got all the wires on. I photographed it before I took it apart, put all the old wires off, put the new switch in, put the wires back on again, got them on correctly, double checked myself, slid it back in, bolted it all up, which is like another half an hour job to get these long bolts in these holes, and got it all together, plugged it in, flipped the switch, boom, took right off. Beautiful. Running right along, shut it off, waited till it stopped, hit reverse, and needless to say, I was more than a little bit discouraged. So, I unplugged the machine and took all the front back off and pulled the switch back out where I could get at it. And I played with it on and off, and I pulled some wires off and put them back on and checked everything, and there was nothing obviously wrong with it. So I went and got a multimeter and started checking, put a multimeter on and turn it on and see if each one of the wires was being energized. Well, in the process of doing that, about the third time I did it, ka-ching, started running reverse. Just right out of the blue. So I put my multimeter down and I shut it off, turned it back on, and turned it off, turned it back on, and the third time I did it, it started running reverse. So I unplugged it, just turned the switch on and off like 20 times, just to cycle it. And then I plugged it back in and it worked fine. So one of the contacts in there, or spring or something, was stuck from setting so long, and it just wasn't flipping up and catching every time. But in the end, now it's fine. Works fine all the time. So I had a bad contact on my switch, which wasn't energizing the start windings, and I had a melted run capacitor. And I've really abused this lathe. It's no wonder that I had to run a melted run capacitor, because I've loaded this thing right down till it stalled. I've caught stuff in it and stalled it from full speed. It's been through hell. So anyway, I got it all working, and now I've designated it as the finish lathe for doing the edges of the beer can rings after they are done on the main lathe. And the lathe down on the other end, the brand new lathe that I never use, just use it to trim beer can rings and stuff, which is brand new. I've moved all my digital measuring equipment onto that, and I'm down there now. I use that for the main lathe, and that's brand new. And another advantage to it is it's closer to the stove, so I think I'm gonna leave it right there, because I used to come down here and work and then run up and warm myself with the stove, and now I'll be right up by the stove off to the side. So that takes care of that. Okay, last thing. Just a second. Someone emailed me the other day and wanted to know if they could buy some of these, how they could buy some of these felts that go in the choke hazard. And I told them, no problem, tomorrow I'll list them in the store. Well, that lathe blew up on me, and I still haven't listed them. But I have one right here, and I photographed it. And I'm going to go in the house and get on the internet and put it in the store so this person can get it, because I'm like a week behind on it. I promised them this a long time ago, but I'm going to do it right now. So I think that's everything for right now. I really need a good sunny day and a trike ride in the sun, warm, smooth road. I need that, because I'm overworked and underpaid, and I just need a vacation. Don't have the money to go to Florida. So anyway, I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design. Try to have a really great day and try to have some fun today. You deserve it. Bye-bye.